Back. This is part 2 of our Descent Journeys in the Dark 2nd edition critical play, and this is going to be the second turn for the heroes. When we last left our able-bodied heroes, Grizz Bane the Thirsty and Widow Tara had killed one of the Marriots, but the evil overlord had spawned a reinforcement, so we have another one to deal with. Grizz Bane has no damage on him, but does have 2 fatigue. Widow Tara has 5 damage on her and has 1 fatigue also. So what we're going to do, and this is one of the things that I really like about Descent, is on the hero's turn, you don't have to keep taking the same turns in a row. So I don't have to take Grizz Bane and then Widow Tara. Or if I start with Widow Tara the next turn, I don't have to start with her again. The heroes and the hero players choose amongst themselves who the right person is to go in which turn order. That's why these cards are here. Each player is going to use these cards to flip over and show that they've finished their turn. Once all of them have flipped over, it's the Overlord's turn. So, what are we going to do? Well, the first thing that's going to happen, I think, is Grizz Bane is actually going to search. He's going to stay right where he is, and he's going to search this token as a action. Now, there's nothing on these. They're the same side. There is one that's in the game that has a different side for different quests when there's specific items in certain places. But what happens is the first card comes off the search deck, and it is a power potion. It is worth 50 gold, so use it or not use it, and we will still get 50 gold at the end of the quest. Flip this card over to reroll some or all of your dice after performing an attack. So that's actually a really nice little additive, since Grizz Bane is going to be attacking quite a bit. So let's take a look here. We could, for our second action, move and try to get up here. We could, for another action, stay back and maybe try to attack this Marriot as well. The challenge is that those archers up there are going to be moving pretty quick into the bundle of crops. Now, one thing that's kind of hard to see here on the map, but there's a black line between this square and this square, indicating that there is a wall there. So this goblin is not adjacent to that space and doesn't have the ability to pick that up yet. He will have to actually move into here. The other thing that's kind of hard to see is that there is a little tiny bit of a wall right here between these two spaces in the corner, and the white lines don't meet at all on the edges. So they're technically not adjacent here either. So he would have to come all the way into here to be adjacent and finally pick that crop up. But as in as the heroes do, a monster can move, interrupt its move to perform an action, and then finish its move. So Grizz Bane thinks he's actually going to try and get all the way up there. So he is going to go 1, 2, 3. Not very much movement, but he does want to get within range to be able to do some stuff next turn maybe. So we're going to do another 1 and 2 and take 2 fatigue points to move those last 2 points. So this puts Grizz Bane at 4 fatigue total for his character. Any more fatigue and he's going to take a damage. But that's okay. On a future turn, I could use as an action to go ahead and rest and remove all of my fatigue. So the Overlord only has 1 card, and since the Overlord, who is my evil twin brother, didn't play it, then Widow Tara feels pretty good about things. So Grizz Bane's going to go ahead and flip over his card to show that he's done, and it'll now be Widow Tara's move. Widow Tara has a move of 4, so she's actually going to move away from the Marriot as well, and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for a second action, she could try an extremely long-range magic attack. So I could try and hit something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. Is that possible? Well, let's take a look. The Arcane Bolt, if you'll remember, is Widow Tara's main magic weapon. If she gets a surge, she gets +1 range, and she rolls a blue and a yellow die. So that could potentially happen. If you look at the yellow power die, you have 2 and 1 on some of the sides. So the highest she could roll on this is 2. If you look at the blue attack die, the highest she could roll is 6. There's a 3, 4, 5, and 6, or 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on here. The 1 is a miss. So there is a potential to roll a maximum of 8 range. Very, very possible. Now the nice thing too is if she were to roll that 6, that surge could be used for +1 range. But it's pretty hard to hit that far away. So Widow Tara is actually going to finish her first action by taking 2 additional fatigue, and she's going to move up 1, 2 as well. So she's going to be right next to that search token. Now the nice thing about that is while I again am almost at full fatigue, I'm right adjacent to that search and I could search for it on a future turn, but now I'm within a little bit more manageable range of the goblin archers. Now, one action I've already taken is to move. You'll notice on here that it says perform a arrow ability or skill. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and do that. What we're going to do is we're going to do exploding rune. Perform an attack with a rune weapon. The attack gains blast. And this is going to cost me 1 fatigue. So to do that, I add a fatigue onto my character. So now she is also at full fatigue. They're pretty tired already, and who can blame them? They've already attacked a Marriot, and the Marriot's brother or cousin or evil twin has come after it already. But what's going to happen is it's going to give her Arcane Bolt blast. So again, let's take a look at Arcane Bolt. It's a ranged weapon, it's a magic, and it's a rune. She rolls a blue and a yellow attack, and on a surge she can either add a range or pierce 2. And remember, pierce means we'll be able to ignore up to 2 of the defense shields rolled. So we're going to go ahead and target this archer right here. Now what's important about this is with exploding rune, she's going to have blast. Blast means that all adjacent figures are going to be hit by the attack as well. So this is going to be a single dice roll for the attack and individual defense rolls for the dice. So let's go ahead and roll the attack first to see what happens. And on a blue and a yellow, she's going to roll 4 total damage, which is really good. And she has 4 total range. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Literally the exact amount we needed. So it was really good that we spent those 2 fatigue points, because not only did we not get a surge, we wouldn't have been able to have any additional range to hit those guys at all, and we would have completely missed. But in this case, it's going to be a really, really good result. So let's go ahead and roll defense for the first person who gets hit immediately. And he has, remember, according to his card, the tan or the minion monsters have a single gray defense dice, and the master monsters, the red monsters, also have a single gray defense dice. So each one will throw a single gray defense. The first one right here rolls and gets a 3. Wow. So only takes 1 damage. Now each one has 2 in terms of health, and the masters have 4. So he's going to live. This, as you'll notice, becomes a little frustrating at times, and this may be a small drawback to the game. Let's go ahead and do the second attack on the tan monster, and I'll explain why. So here's the second minion monster's defense roll, and he rolls 1. So he's going to take a total of 3 damage, which is enough to kill him. Now, there's only 1 minion monster left. So I could technically put my hearts on this card, but remember that at the beginning of the Overlord's turn, he can spawn a goblin or spawn 1 person from the open group, 1 monster from the open group, respecting the group limits. So it's going to be kind of pointless. We usually tend to put the hearts near the characters, or even sometimes under the characters like this. That's a little hard, but in this, especially in very large monster games, but in this case it's not too bad because they only have 2 health, so we know there's 1 damage on him, another damage would kill him. But when you do have like 3 or 4 or 5 monsters out there and you have multiple tans, it can get a little confusing to keep up with them. It's not that bad. It's definitely nothing that like takes away from the game. It's just something you have to manage throughout the game. So let's go ahead and roll the final defense dice, which again is 1 gray, for the master goblin archer. And he misses completely. All he needed to do was roll 1 defense and his 4 health would have kept him alive, But no, instead, he is dead as well. So that was a great attack by Widow Tara. She took out 2 of the main guys and got the 3rd guy just within a breath of life. So that was really good. And you'll notice the Overlord didn't play any cards either. So something might be up his sleeve. So let's shift over. Widow Tara will go ahead and flip her card over to signify that her turn is done. Both heroes are at maximum fatigue. Widow Tara still has 5 damage on her, and Grizz Bane the Thirsty still has none. So he's doing pretty good. While he's not deflecting a lot of attacks, he's still staying alive, as the BG said. Okay, it is the start of the Overlord's turn. So the first thing the Overlord's going to do is draw a card. The second thing is he's going to spawn 1 monster. Now he can spawn 1 goblin and 1 character from the open group. There is another red master Marriot, boy, say that 5 times fast, in the box. But we can't bring him out because respecting group limits again, on the back of this card says for 2 heroes I can only have 1 minion and 0 masters. So my 1 minion is out there. So instead I will spawn a red goblin archer. Now I'd love to get anyone's opinion on this. This space is the entrance as marked by the quest guide where the goblins come in. We've been playing that you have to come in on these 2 squares, this back edge. The reason being is that there's this little arrow here with the bar from behind. Some people, I think, play where you can put it on any one of these and start from there or there. I'm not too sure which is the right answer, but if anyone has an opinion, feel free to let us know. For now, we go ahead and start back here. Okay, so the Overlord's going to go ahead and look at his card. He says. Very interesting indeed. So, let's go ahead and activate the Marriot first. The Marriot moves 3. 1, 2, 3. Now again, these white lines don't go all the way to the edge, so this corner space and this corner space have a corner wall between them, so there's no way that I can reach over there and hit him. Oh, there is a way! The Marriot has reach. And if you remember, reach allows us, this monster may attack targets up to 2 spaces away. So we'll draw a line from the top of this box to the top of this box, and we have line of sight, and it is within 2 spaces. So the Marriot will actually go ahead and attack Grizz Bane the Thirsty. Now, the minion version of the Marriot rolls a blue and a red die, and on a surge he can either immobilize or he can add +1 damage to his roll. So let's go ahead and see what happens to Grizz Bane here. Grizz Bane has a single gray defense, so we'll go ahead and roll all 3 of these at once like we normally would, since there's only 1 target this time. Uh-oh, Grizz Bane completely whiffed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total damage plus a surge. What could we do with that surge? Well, for the surge, we could immobilize or add +1 damage. In this case, I think we're going to go ahead and immobilize. If this attack deals at least 1 damage after the defense roll, the target is immobilized. So, Grizz Bane will take a total of 5 health. It's a wicked, crushing blow. And then he's going to become immobilized, which is one of these cards. And this card says you cannot perform move actions or suffer fatigue to gain movement points. Discard this card or token at the end of your turn. Why does it say discard this card or token? Well, here's why. Each of the cards, whether it's disease, poison, stun, or immobilize, there's one for each potential hero player or each potential hero in the game. There are tokens for each of the monsters in the game. So if the minion or the master monsters get immobilized or diseased, then the Overlord would take one of the tokens. And the tokens are pretty simple. They're just little cardboard discs that have the same logos on them as the cards, but they're affected the same way. Not quite sure why they did that, other than it helps you manage which characters have that effect on them, because again, it's not as easy as just keeping them on the cards. For the master monsters, it is, because you're generally only going to have 1 red master monster of any type. So, what to do now? Well, remember, I've moved an attack with the Marriot, so his turn is completely done. I can't do anything else with him. But this guy, this archer, he is pretty much going out on a limb here. So if he were to attack Widow Tara, and he were to hit a surge, he would get +1 range or +1 damage. And Widow Tara already has 5 damage on her out of 10, so she's already at half life. So we're going to go ahead and do something pretty harsh. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, as an overlord, we're going to attack we're going to activate our goblin archers. When you activate monsters, you activate them in a group, which means that I can't move this archer, then play with that Marriot, and come back to this archer. It's actually all the archers at once, then all of another group. So this guy will move first, and he will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as his first action, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as his second action. And now this guy is going to go ahead and attack Widow Tara, and he's going to play Critical Blow. Critical Blow says it's an event. Play this card when a monster attacks a hero after rolling dice. The attack gains Surge +3 hearts. So I guess I really should wait till after I roll the dice. So, a blue and a yellow is the attack for a minion goblin archer, and a single gray is the defense for Widow Tara. So let's see what happens. That's a little cock. We'll go ahead and re-roll that. Alright, so she rolled 3 defense, and he rolled 3 total damage +4 range. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got the range. So let's go ahead and play, well, we've already said we were going to play Critical Blow, so I'll go ahead and have that. But at the same time, I'm also going to play Dark Fortune. Dark Fortune says play this card after you roll dice. You may re-roll 1 die. Re-rolling the blue die could be a little scary, because it may or may not help me in terms of hitting things. We already have 1 damage and 1 heart. So just taking a look at this, if I roll and hit that X, that would be pretty bad. So let's go ahead and re-roll the yellow die and see what we can get on top of this and see if we can get anything good. We get a Surge. Okay, so the Surge, now we've only done 2 damage. We still have 4 range, which is good. But thankfully, because of the Critical Blow, the Surge can add 3 hearts. So we've done a total of 5 damage. Widow Tara stops 3 of it, so she takes a total net of 2 damage. Puts her at 7 total damage. So she's taking some heat right now. And the Overlord is completely out of cards. Now this is a great moment for the heroes, because the Overlord's turn is completely done now. So the heroes now begin their turn. So what do we know? We know that Grizz Bane is immobilized. We know that Widow Tara is almost dead. And we know that Grizz Bane has also taken 5 damage. But it might be time to start bringing the pain. For now, we're going to go ahead and end this at round 2, since that's the end of round 2. The heroes have moved. The Overlord has moved. There's still no crops picked up, but there is a lot of damage and a lot of fighting going on. So let's see what happens when we move into phase 3 or turn 3, and we'll go from there. Until then, thanks very much for watching. Feel free to leave your comments here on the YouTube channel. You can also reach us at Facebook and Twitter /CritsHappen. We're on Google+, and of course, critshappen.com. Until we see you next time, keep rolling those dice, and we hope they're all crits.